Hello everyone, my name is Artsy Smoot and welcome to another video. Today I'll be attempting watercolors for the first time on my October bullet journal cover art. I got my thumbnails ready, so let's go. Okay, to sketch this month's art, I'm using a terracotta Prismacolor Col-Erase Erasable. I should add this to a list of tongue twisters. I got the idea for next month's art from Ronald Dahl's illustrations. I grew up watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda. The original Willy Wonka too. Not the remake with Johnny Depp acting like somebody who obviously uses kids as the secret ingredient to make Wonka chocolate taste amazing. To be fair though, Gene Wilder did give you similar feelings, but more subtly, like Ted Bundy. Like something's wrong there, but I don't know what. Anyways, and Matilda gave me fantasies about the chocolate cake that Fat Bruce ate. For years, I dreamed about finding a cake recipe that would make me feel like Bruce. Personally, I think the stay-at-home chef has made this dream come true for me. Even the title of the video includes the words, "the most amazing chocolate cake." And let me tell you, it was. I made that cake without the frosting, and it was the most delicious thing in the world for me. I absolutely love that cake recipe. And then Food 52 also has an awesome chocolate cake recipe, although I've yet to try it. Their video is called The Ultimate Chocolate Cake. I'll post both links in the description box below so that you guys can taste it for yourselves. And if you guys do taste it, let them know that the Artsy Planner sent you over. Show them some love, guys. They got some amazing recipes. Okay, and so for the line art, I'm using Micron Fineliners varying in sizes from 0.05 to 0.8. The pins were a completely different experience from my Hue Heroes. The tips are more delicate, and at one point I found myself pressing down too hard, and I was like a little bit nervous that I might have ruined it. I think it was the 0.05 where I was like, I don't know if it was just an optical illusion, but I was like, no, I bent the tip. So whether or not I did, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping I didn't. But anyways, it's something to keep in mind. So I don't want to ruin my investment because it's really cool. What should I use to color this in? I was originally going to use color pencils, but I've been wanting to try watercolors for some time. So here we go. I'm gonna do it. Although I'm like trying to build myself up here because I'm really nervous about doing this. I mean, watercolors, they always say, are like some of the hardest things you can try. But here I go. I got these watercolors at Target, and for the quality, I would rate these as being better than the chalk stuff that you get in those Easter egg kits. However, if you want a more in-depth video about what sort of watercolors you should purchase, I would recommend heading over to Emily Artful's channel. She's made a series of videos about watercolors for different skill levels and reviews on different watercolor brands. And personally, that's like where I'm aiming to, but for now I'm happy with these Target ones because they didn't cost me a whole bunch of money and they were very budget friendly. However, the budget friendly ones that she recommends are called Prang, and I think they're about the same price range as these Target ones. Alright, anywho, I'll be sure to post the link to that video in the description box below too. Now the coverage I'm getting from these is more than I expected. I from my limited knowledge of watercolor, I did not expect this, so I was very pleasantly surprised. And as I'm using them, I had to remember to limit the amount of water I'm using, because if too much water is not good for any watercolor in general, but also because the paper I'm using isn't watercolor paper. So when I forgot to limit this water amount, I remembered to use a technique I learned from Emily Artful's 25 drawing techniques. I use the tip of my brush to pull the excess water out, and I must say it works really, really well. And even though I didn't do too good of a job, it did help me to remove some of the harsh edges I was having, but I could have softened them more. And I don't feel discouraged because she did make a point of saying that this is a steep learning curve to master. So, and I've never used watercolors before, so I'm not I'm not expecting anything like, oh my god, I'm terribly disappointed. Now, eventually, I do want to work my skills up to having, like Emily Artful does, or Casey the Golden. Some other people that I've seen use them are Gel Arts. I'm really happy with how I did this moon. I wanted to give him like a creepy face. I guess I kind of thought of it like a jack-o'-lantern. Anyways, I also wanted to have the houses have that glow effect, and that's part of the reason why I caved and decided to try the watercolors, because I figured that with the watercolors they would give it that glow look that I was looking for, and I could have used my jelly roll pins for this, or even markers. But again, I was just going for a southern aesthetic, and I wanted to emulate Ronald Dahl's style even more, because a lot of the times when I look at his art, it looks like it's been colored with watercolors. And the style is something that I would like to achieve too, because I feel like he's not so much concerned with being realistic. It's just, going with whatever it is, and like a commitment that he's making with his line art, because it's sometimes like kind of hard to discern what he's drawing, but he adds enough little details in the end that you can tell what it is. Like I remember looking at the drawings for the witches, like the way he does hair, it kind of just looks like a rectangle on his head, and then he just goes back in and adds little wisps of hair. And so to me, like that's like something that I could achieve at my skill level, and it just makes me feel so much more confident in my art, because like right now I'm starting out again. And it's sometimes like I get so frustrated because I feel like, oh my god, my art just looks like stick people. But then I remember, I'm starting out, and I remember too when I was younger, it took me forever to try and even do some of the things that I can so easily do now, like remembering to use shading and layering with color pencils. And that's one thing that I was remembering. Anywho, so reactivating my watercolors, in case you don't know that, to get the best use out of your watercolors, you want to spray them about 30 seconds before you want to, or like about 5 minutes before, so that they get a nice chance to soak in, and you get more longevity out of your watercolor paints. That way, they go so much further, because a little bit does go a long way with watercolors. At least that's my opinion, or what I have found when you properly activate them. Anyway, so now I'm going over to the moon, and I'm going around the stars and trying to do that cloud effect. And it is around this time that I should have just stopped and walked away. Because as I was doing the cloud effect around the moon, I messed up, and I suddenly became so distraught because I did not like how it looked at all. I was so unhappy with it. And I wish somebody had reached into the screen and said no and stopped me, because I honestly was like super happy with how the painting looked at this point. And then I had to go and think, and the only way of fixing this is just to paint the whole thing blue. And I absolutely hated how it looks afterwards, because like I'm not at the skill level of watercolor to do something on this scale, and to not make it look flat and like something that came out of a 5-year-old. Not to insult 5-year-olds, but to me that's what it looks like somebody just gave me a paintbrush and I just went like smash 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 all over the painting. But oh well. And I did try and look at the bright side as I was doing this. I was like, maybe we can make it look more, stand out-ish and give the effect that you're in a graveyard or something. But yeah, I was just, no, what was I thinking? Why did I continue with this? It looked so nice before. But oh well. Anyways, as I'm adding this blue, I did realize one thing, is that I was adding too much water again. And so what I was doing instead, or too much paint that wasn't activated enough. I'm not really sure how else to go about explaining that. But it was like I had picked up like a glob of the dark blue watercolor, and then just put it on there. And then because it wasn't activated enough, I wasn't, taking advantage of the materials that I had. So I would go into my clean water and dip it in there and then spread it out, which worked, but and then it didn't, because I forgot that this is not watercolor paper, and I'm sitting here trying to treat it like watercolor paper. That ain't gonna work. Oh well. But as you can see, like, I did manage to cover the whole page, and it looks so bad. Like, not even like, oh, it's okay. No, it looks terrible. But for my first attempt, I had to remember not to be too harsh with myself. And it was like, at this point too, that I probably should have stepped back and taken a break, but I just decided to power through and was like, I'm just gonna paint everything. And because I did that, I made the tree that I drew in the background look like it's like a flying tree or something, because I decided to suddenly make it float in the sky. I forgot that there was supposed to be ground underneath that. So I tried to fix it, but it looked all muddy and I was just making it worse. And yes, it just looked so bad. But you know what? For my first attempt at watercolor, I learned a few things. Most importantly, be patient. And, as soon as you're done with it and you're thinking about adding something else, walk away from it. Just walk away. I don't care if you're like, no, I'm fine. No, you need to step away. Because if you do, you will wind up ruining your painting and you will, like, absolutely hate it. I did try and fix it though so that it didn't look as muddy. And by doing that, I mixed some purple and some pink. And just so you know, the only downside to this palette, by the way, is that it doesn't have like a mixing area, so you kind of just have to do it between the little like circles, and then try and get in there and throw it in there. But yeah, that was one thing I realized as I was painting. Anywho, so now I pretty much like just finished the painting, and I'm just spreading around the brown to make the dirt so that it doesn't look like, the cemeteries in the sky. There's no such thing as ground. And just anything to try and save this thing. Oh my god, where are the idols or the masters of the watercolors when I need them? Like, can they come fix this painting? Because I totally destroyed it with my terrible art. Anywho, skills, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and this is a completed painting. I really appreciate you guys joining me, and those of you that came from Imager after my meme, which I'm really surprised like got as much attention as it did. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope to see you guys next Saturday for next week's video. Woohoo! Bye.